What is this? Where did you come from? Can you see my bun? Is my bun cut off? Who knows? Hey everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to be letting you know what my favorite products were for the month of August, and also I have a few products that just did not work out for me that I want to put in as unfavorites, because when you find a product that you don't like, it's one thing, but when you find a product that you really don't like, that's another thing, especially when those products are quite expensive. So let's not waste any time and we will just get right into it. The first product that I have is actually a new product, and I have filmed a separate video on this. I'm not quite sure what video is going to go up first, so you may or may not have heard me talk about this already, but it is the new Benefit Air Patrol BB Cream Eyelid Primer. It looks like this. And this is the reason that I am now wearing eyeshadow again, because it makes my skin not irritated. It puts a really good barrier down before I use eyeshadows. It's super soothing and I absolutely love it. It does everything on the package that it says it's going to do, and like I said, I do have a full video, so I won't go on and on about this too much, but this is going to be launching on September 12th in Atlanta, Canada. So if you have a chance and you're looking for a new eyelid primer, this one is a definitely recommended by me. Another Benefit product made it into my favorites this month again, and it is the Benefit Roller Lash. And this has been an absolutely fantastic mascara, and to be honest, it was one of those things that I used for a while and I didn't necessarily know how much I liked it. Come to think of it, I have a feeling that I might have put this in my last month favorites as well, but I have been using this every day. There's hardly been any other mascaras in my life because I'm just so happy with the way that my lashes look when I use this. So definitely recommend that. I believe it retails for around $31. So it's definitely a more high-end mascara, but if you are a mascara junkie, definitely try it at least once. It wouldn't be a favorites video of mine if there wasn't something from Essence. So I do have one of their brand new lip liners that were just launched, and this is in the shade 15 Honeyberry. And when you guys see this shade, you're going to be like, yeah, that makes sense. So it's like a cool tone berry color. It's almost like a fuchsia. It's beautiful. And I have been wearing this so often. A really good friend of mine actually just got married last weekend, and this was the lip liner that I was wearing that day. And it was so funny because it actually started a conversation at the table with a bunch of women that also use those lip liners. And everyone was like, they're just so good. They're so good. And then somebody chimed in, I can't remember who it was, and they were like, and it's not just good because it's cheap. Like, even if it was like $10, $15, that's still a wonderful lip liner. And I believe they retail for like $1.99. They're so inexpensive and totally worth it. And then Essence also launched a new line of nude lipsticks. So I believe there's 3 shades that they launched. I got the darkest one. To be honest, I found that the other 2 were just too light for me. But this one is in the shade 5 Cool Nude. The packaging looks like this, so it's very Marc Jacobs-esque. He also launched a line of nude lipsticks, and the actual packaging of them is nude instead of the original black. So it has a little bit of a higher end feel, and this is the shade right here. It's beautiful. You guys are going to have to excuse my voice. I feel like I'm starting to get sick, so I'm a little bit raspy. So bear with me and we'll get through it. Next favorite. I don't know if this was in a favorites before, but it should be because it is amazing. This is the Annabelle Skinny Brow Liner in Universal Taupe, and it's one of the ones that comes with quite a weird brush on the end. It's not a typical spoolie, it's more like an actual comb. To be honest, that is not my favorite part about this product, but the actual product itself is beautiful. You can go in and really kind of draw out your brow and then just feather in the rest of it. It's amazing. I haven't used the Brow Wiz before. That's one high-end product that I've never tried. I feel like at some point I'm gonna have to just give in and buy it and see what the hype is about, but I can't imagine it being worlds better than that one, and it's like double the price. So if you're looking for a cheaper alternative and you do use the Anastasia one, try that one out because it's really nice. This was something that came in a small kit from Sephora, and it's something that I probably wouldn't purchase full size because they are so expensive. But recently Burberry did a little bit of a mini box set that was available on Sephora. I feel like it was only available for VIB Rouge, but you can definitely Google, and I also have a picture of it on my Instagram, which is Girl Met Blush, if you want to go follow me there. So the packaging looks like this. Super fancy, of course. and it's a contour powder, but it actually looks like an eyeshadow just because it's obviously a smaller size. So it has the embossed of the Burberry, and every time I open this I can smell it, and usually I don't like that. Guerlain has a lot of cosmetic products that are heavily scented, and I'm really just not a fan because I find they're a little bit irritating. This one doesn't bother me at all. I do have it on today. It's just kind of the sculpting powder that I have just on the sides of my face. It's also phenomenal as an eyeshadow. So if you want something like a transitional crease color that you can just apply if you're not wearing a lot of eyeshadow, or if you're going to be wearing a lot of eyeshadow and you just want a color to kind of make it more of a gradient effect, that product is fantastic. And everything else, oh no, I have two more makeup products. This one, you guys have also heard me talk about before, but I have been wearing it so much. I am wearing it today. It is the Milani Powder Blush in Romantic Rose. And just look at that packaging for a minute because it is beautiful. And I'm actually starting to really flatten mine out, which makes me so sad because these are beautiful. But they are now readily available in my drugstores around me. I had a really hard time when they first launched finding them. But it's the perfect blush whether you're wearing a lot of makeup or hardly no makeup. It's just one of those blushes that you don't need to think about. It doesn't matter what you're wearing, anything else, it goes with everything. So it's super low maintenance, and I love that in my makeup products. Now, this product is strange because it is a favorite, but it's also an unfavorite. Let me see if I can explain what I mean. So this is the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation Plus Concealer, and I have mine in the shade 6 Ivory. As you guys know, if you watched my previous haul, this is something that was given to me by Clinique, and I haven't heard good reviews at all about this foundation. It separates, it's too heavy, just not great reviews. So I really didn't think I was gonna like this. So I thought, you know what, I'll give it a try. If I don't like it, I can then pass it along and move on. It's no good if it's just gonna sit in my drawer. I actually really like it. Now, it is a little bit dark for me, story of my life, because I have not been self-tanning this summer. I've kind of embraced my more fair skin, and I do have to work with it and kind of take it down the neck a little bit when I wear it, but it looks so nice on my skin. It doesn't cling to my dry patches. It makes my skin look super dewy, which is another thing. It says on the back of the box that it's a natural matte finish. That is not true. It is glowy. It's so radiant. Like, you put it on and you're like, is this still wet? Like, did I even blend that? It's not even like a demi matte or like a satin matte. It's just radiant. It's super glowy. So if you do want a matte finish, don't let that deter you on the box, because it is not a matte finish at all. It does have really nice coverage. I do still use a separate concealer for underneath of my eyes and kind of to highlight with, mainly because this is not the right color for me. So if I had a lighter color, I don't feel like I would need to do that because the coverage that it gives is really great. And I remember the first day I wore this, people were commenting on my foundation like a lot, and they were so shocked when I told them what it was because everyone knew I wasn't expecting to like it. But sure enough, I do. The coverage is great, the lasting power is wonderful. I got home that night and I washed my skin and I was like, my foundation looks exactly the same as it did when I put it on this morning. And the only thing that I don't like, number one, the packaging is super heavy and super glass. So if I drop this once, it's over. Number two, I hate the applicator. Let's see if I can, it comes in like a ginormous doe foot applicator, which, fine, okay, I can always work on the back of a palette, but it has such a tight stopper when you pull the product out that it takes most of the foundation off of the applicator. So in order to do a full face application, I need to dip into this like 5 times. And it's just, it's kind of the germaphobe in me, not germaphobe, but I just don't want to have to keep going back into a product to get more. So I do wish that it was in better packaging. If they could put this in a pump, I don't know if it's because of the formula that they have that sort of application technique with it. So that part is definitely an unfavorite, but the actual foundation itself, once it's applied to the skin, is really nice. And it didn't separate on me at all. So I don't know if that's for someone that has more of an oily skin type that they found that it really broke down throughout the day. But even like in this area here where I've been more oily lately, I've had no problem with it. So I would recommend it, but just beware of all of the flaws that I just mentioned as well. Okay, so now I have a few skincare items and then we are finished, if you can even believe it. This is the Glam Glow Thirsty Cleanse Daily Hydrating Cleanser Mud to Foam. And this is, again, something that was new to me, and I'm glad I get the small size because I always like to try things out, just in case if I don't like them, I'm not out. I think these are like, I want to say like $70. They're so expensive. This was 16, so I thought, okay, I can do 16. And I do actually really like it. So it does have the exact same smell as the Glam Glow Hydrating Mask, if you're familiar with that. It's like a tropical kind of coconut scent. And this keeps my skin super hydrated, it doesn't irritate my skin, and my skin feels really nice and moisturized even after I rinse it off. That's my one thing with cleansers that I don't like. I don't like it when I feel like they're stripping all of the oils out of my skin. So this was fantastic. When I first got it, I really had a hard time making it foam up, but the more I use it, I'm getting better at it. So you're supposed to apply it to a dry skin and then go back in just with wet hands and massage some more. Then it's supposed to foam up and then you rinse. So I don't know why the first couple of times I used it, I wasn't getting much of a foaming action, but I am now, and it's a fantastic cleanser. I love it. These are two other things that were also in my last haul. This is the Murad Tzone Pore Refining Gel. And this is something that I've only been using, you can see, hopefully you can see. I haven't used that much of it, but I mean, for as long as I've had it, I've used it quite a bit. I just use this on my T-zone area, so literally just on my nose and a little bit right here. And my nose looks so much better than it did. So I don't know if it was large pores that was the problem, because even with extractions and things like that, nothing was necessarily in my nose and my pores. But it just looks so much more clear now, and it's a lot smoother. I can notice it when I put my makeup on. So that product is phenomenal. I will say I do have dermatitis on my hands, and if I get a little bit of that product in one of my little dry patches on my fingers, it burns. Oh, does it burn? It's awful. But if you're careful with it, I really like it, and it's definitely something that you don't want to get on your eye area. So you just need to apply it on the areas that you get a little bit more oily. Then you would just go on top of that with your regular moisturizer. And I only use it at nighttime because it does make you a little bit more photosensitive. And this is the product that I've kind of been going back and forth between. So one night I'll use the Murad, and then the other night I will use this. This is the Glow by Dr. Brandt Overnight Resurfacing Serum. And this is something that I actually really like too. So I put it on. I only put it on kind of here on my forehead and on my chin. I don't need it necessarily like on the top of my lip, for example, because that's usually where I get super, super dry skin and really big dry patches. And I will say the first few times I used this, it did make my skin a little bit red and a little bit flaky. That's a completely normal reaction for retinol, and my skin is over it now. So I have built up tolerance for it. I'm not using it every single night. I'll use it probably 3 times a week, and that seems to work well for me. Definitely an overnight product as well, and make sure that you're using your sunscreen with it because it will make you more sensitive to the sun. But my skin is so much more smooth, and I feel like it looks a lot more radiant. Like I'll wake up in the morning and I'll be like, I feel like I have highlighter on, like I'm just glowing, and I love it when I get actual results from skincare because frequently I don't necessarily see a big difference, but those two products I'm completely in love with. This next one is an oldie but a goodie. This is my Eucerin Aquaphor, and this is something that you will read about in pretty much every single beauty article ever. If there's ever a magazine article of like things that all beauty lovers have to have or what models have in their bag backstage at a fashion show, this is always in it. I use this for so many things, I can't even tell you. Flyaways in my hair, lip balm, moisturizer, like you can use it as a highlighter if you just want to kind of pop some on your cheek if you find yourself suddenly needing a highlighter. That happens to me sometimes, don't judge. And it's just a phenomenal product. It retails for about $8.99 at the drugstore, and it's completely worth it. It's a really good thing to have on hand. And I've actually been using that on my eyelids recently because I've had such irritation, especially on this eye here. I've been so red and flaky, and that has really helped. So for anyone who's watched my videos or followed me for any amount of time on social media, you're going to need to brace yourself for this. I have a favorite facial cotton in this video, and it's not Shiseido. These are the Quo Luxury Oval Cotton Pads. You get 50 in a bag, and I believe they retail for about $4.29. And the reason that I bought these was because I was in need of facial cotton, but I already had a stockpile of Shiseido cotton at home, and I knew I didn't need it. Like, they're so expensive, they're like $11, and I thought, you know what, I have bags and bags of that at home. I'm just gonna get something a little bit cheaper. And this is what they look like here. And they're really stitched really well around the edge, but look how big they are. I have massive hands as well, keep that in mind. But they're so big and I love them. I just love them for the sheer size. They don't fall apart at all when you use them. You don't get cotton in your eyelashes. They're just really, really good. So the test is going to be when I run out of these and I go back to my Shiseido cotton, if I decide to repurchase these again, because I'm telling you now, I really, really like them. And I think they're the same as just the regular Quo luxury pads, but it's the size of them that really makes me love them. Like, I can get so much surface on my skin when I'm removing my makeup with them. I'm in love with them. I still love my Shiseido, don't get me wrong. Trust me, that cotton is amazing. I wish that they would make the Shiseido cotton in bigger pads now, because I didn't even know I needed that until I used those, and I was like, life changed. So those were my favorites. I'm going to let you guys know about 2 products this month that really did not work for me. One I have and one I don't, because I've already returned it. The first one is the CoverGirl Intensify Me Intense Black Liquid Liner. And this is what it looks like. And this is the one, I'm sure you guys have seen this because it's everywhere on social media. But it has like a paddle tip. So the theory behind it is that you could put the paddle sideways and get a thin line, or you could turn the paddle this way and get a more thick line. 2 things right off the bat bother me about this. Number 1, it doesn't make any noise when you shake it, so you don't feel like you're loosening up the product. Obviously that probably doesn't have anything to do with how the product actually works, but I just like when my liquid liners shake a little bit. When I shake them, they make noise. And number 2, the cap doesn't make a noise. So you put the cap on, and usually when you press in, I want that click to know that that product is closed, and this doesn't give that to me. So every time I close it, I have to go back like 3 times to make sure that the cap is on tightly. I've stopped doing that because, to be honest, I don't really care if this dries out because it's really not that great. It's more of like a gray color. I'll do a swatch for you guys. It's just like, if you're someone that uses liquid liner, you know that that's a weak swatch. So I just really wasn't impressed by it. It was like $8.99, so I kept it. That's fine. But I would say look out for this one. I'm not really a fan. My second non-favorite this My second non-favorite product this month is a little bit more serious because it was $69 plus tax, and it was the Marc Jacobs Remarkable Foundation. So I have kind of a story with this one. I bought one originally and I thought it was going to be too light. So I took it back to Sephora and I returned it for another color. Then when I got the other color home that I had been matched for, which I should have matched myself, this is my own fault, it was much too yellow for my skin tone. But it wasn't even the color that I had an issue with, it was the actual product itself. So number 1, when you open it, there's like 2 separate caps on the product that drive me crazy. Like, you took off the black cap and then you had to twist off another silver cap. And that just is pointless to me. Why would I want to put that extra effort in the morning? And also, it did have one of those like dropper things that you get on foundations, but it wasn't an actual dropper. So similar to the Smashbox BB Water that I recently reviewed on my blog, that one has an actual button on the top that you can push the product out and you don't need to touch anything. The Marc Jacobs one was essentially just a stick hanging off of the cap, so you'd have to rub the stick on the back of your hand or directly apply the stick to the skin. And again, I just don't want to do that. I don't like products that I have to keep going back into. I will say it gave amazing coverage, but on my skin personally, it just looked so heavy. So I've had this revelation that I do not like full coverage foundations, just because I don't like the way that they look on my skin. I don't necessarily like to see my foundations. I mean, for photography and things like that, there's a place for everything, but I could not use enough product. Like, I used what I thought I needed, and I thought, oh Jesus, I need to like cut that in half next time I used it. So I cut it in half, and it was still way too much product, and it gets so stuck in my baby hairs and my fine hairs up here. So I cut that in half again, so I was essentially using 0 product, and it still looked so heavy. So I returned it. I was going to do a review on it, but it was honestly kind of super negative, so I didn't necessarily want to put it out there, because if that foundation works for you, that is amazing. It was not what I was looking for. I do want to try their Genius Gel and see how that goes, because I think that's meant to be a little bit more of a natural finish. But just so you guys are aware, that did not work for me. So that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys had an amazing summer. I guess we are now officially going into fall. September 1st is my birthday, so I always feel like my birthday is the start of a new season, because usually in Halifax it gets a little bit... We're still having pretty good weather now, I won't lie, but fall is definitely coming soon. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Give me a thumbs up and make sure you share and subscribe if you liked the video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.